Hello, hello. Just wait to see if anyone is there. Hello. Hi, Mel. Good to see you. Hi, Jen. I uh, I had to restart those that may have spotted. Hi, Emma. Those of you that may have spotted a previous scheduled video. Um, yes, we're live. I had to restart for some reason. But we're here. It's Tarot Tuesday. Takeover. 2. The sequel. You've got your notebook in hand, have you? Great. Okay, I'm just going to try and bring up on my tablet so I can actually look at the chat better than on my phone. Um, I'm not actually getting a notification myself that I'm live. I know, Mel. Well, she's got to show willing, hasn't she? So this is Tarot Takeover 2, the sequel, because Jen needed some time off because she got a very long medical appointment to go to today and didn't think she'd have time to prepare anything. So I decided that I would go live and do another Tarot Tuesday takeover. Yes, Jen, I think I remember you saying that you tried to watch it and you had a nosebleed. So obviously that's the effect I have on you. It's nice to know. So, and I still can't find, why am I not getting a notification that I am live? Got it. That's better. So, our discussion tonight is going to be about connecting with deities using tarot. So, tarot can be used for many things. That's the wonderful thing about tarot. Once we've learnt the meanings and how to interpret the cards and put everything together, and then we can use them from all kinds of things, doing readings for ourselves, doing readings for others. We can do readings for ourselves in how to connect spiritually with the universe and also with other spiritual beings that we want to connect with, such as spirit guides, ancestors, and deities. And first, I'll acknowledge that not everybody works with deities or wants to work with deities, and that's fine. If you don't want to connect with deities, then just watch it. You can use this to connect with spirit guides or the universe in general, but this is basically, more for deities, and more specifically, perhaps identifying a deity that may be trying to connect with you, um, and seeing what that connection is like, and trying to learn more about what deity may be trying to, or inviting you to work with them, or being you may be drawing to yourself, because it's that question of does the deity choose you, and or do you choose the deity? And the answer is, I feel, is both can be true. Um, Ultimately, we decide um, if we work with a deity or not. We're not obligated to work with any particular deity if we don't want to. Just because, and if a deity comes to you and more or less shows an interest or gives you signs and everything, that they may be wanting to work with you, you still have the ultimate say of whether you work with them or not. So, like with most things, we decide um, our own path and how we're going to walk along that path. So, this subject of working with deities is ultimately down to us. And yes, we can, so the choice is ultimately ours. Um, what happens if you're married to someone who thinks they are a deity? Well, Mel, all I can say is I try not to get involved in marital situations. Maybe, um, and just because someone may think they're a deity doesn't make it true. But we do all have divine aspects within us, so there may be some truth in that. Yes. Well, we can blame Jen. We normally blame Joe, but in the absence of Joe, we can blame Jen if you want. So, as I was saying, and sometimes I feel that we choose we with the energy that we put out. Sometimes that's what the energy of a deity is attracted to. So, in that sense, I feel there's a bit of um, the joining of the energies, the attraction of the energies, that it may be the energy you're putting out may attract certain deities to come to you, and they then decide whether or not they'd be willing to let that go into developing a relationship, and you would then, of course, as you learn more, decide whether you want to work with them, should they be willing to. So this is going to be, I'm going to go through a tarot spread that I found, where we're looking at deity and connecting. If we have, perhaps we have a feeling that a deity may be calling to us, or we may be attracting a certain energy of a certain deity, or we may not know particularly what kind of deity it is. We may just feel that something's drawing us. We can get out our tarot cards and do a spread to see if that gives us any clarification. Now, there are many ways that we will begin to know um, whether a deity is trying to connect with us or inviting us to connect with them, um, outside of tarot. So what I would say is, um, we don't just use tarot to develop our relationship with deity, um, but it's one of the ways we can use to build a picture, and that's basically what we're doing tonight. And I'm going to do a spread of of is if I'm actually feeling a certain deity calling to me at the moment. Now, it's possible that that particular deity that I feel is calling to me may not actually connect through the tarot spread I'm about to do. I may end up with the energy of a completely different deity that I'm not ready for, that I'm not, and that's always a possibility. We have to be open-minded. We have to be willing to see whatever's there, that's going to connect to us at any particular time. So, and ultimately, we don't, as I said before, we just because we identify something, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to immediately respond and say, right, this is the deity I'm going to work for. And the other thing before we start doing the reading that I would also stress is that with the limitations of tarot, tarot can give us hints, clues about the energy that we're connecting with. It may not specifically say, give us, it's not going to necessarily name to us the deity, right? It may give us the kind of energy of the deity that may apply to several deities, and we may need to do further research, further exploration to pin it down as to what particular deity it is that's been addressed. So it's not necessarily going to be not going to necessarily look at the spread and the cards that we get and suddenly say, oh, that's Apollo, that's Odin, that's Poseidon, or that's Athena, Hera, Medusa, you know the Exxon was talking about the other day. All these different bodies, so we don't necessarily get that specific name, but there could be a way to get the clues that will help us to narrow it down. But we'll probably then have to use that. Now, if we feel a particular deity has been calling to us, then it may confirm that. So we may have, depending on how the reading goes, we may have that name in our minds. It may just confirm it. We may instinctively know. Yes, that's the thing about tarot. It doesn't, it doesn't give a straight answer all the while, Jen. It's annoying. But so it may confirm. Also, the reading may pick up on the energy that we're putting out into the universe, and maybe a clue as to the kind of deity that we're seeking as well, that if we're seeking a deity. So let's get down to do the actual spread, and I'll explain the spread as I go along, the different cards that we can pull. And as I shuffle the deck, I'm sort of asking that the universe will, and my guides and everything will help introduce me to whatever deity is trying to reach out, or that I'm reaching out to, and provide me with the information I need to get a clearer idea to help form that connection should I want to. So that's what I'm doing as I'm shuffling the deck. I'm asking. And as serious as it is when we're trying to seek out deities, energies we want to connect with, it is a serious thing, and to be part of our practice, part of our path. But one of the things that I feel that's been coming to me very much is it's okay to have fun with serious stuff. So just because it's a serious thing, it's a serious matter, it doesn't mean that you can't have some fun with it. And that's what I feel that doing a spread like this um it's a fun way to help make a serious connection. So let's see how it goes. It could totally not work at all, and we can talk about that if that happens. I'm going to do this totally off the cuff. I have not prepared the reading. I haven't chosen the cards. I'm going to choose them live and show you how the spread works, so that it gives you an idea of how to do this type of spread. Now, this spread is one I found somewhere on Pinterest. Um, so there was no particular name to it. I think it's of its origin, but if you search for deity identification spread, I'm sure you'll find it. So so I've shuffled the cards. Now I'm going to choose the cards in the order of the spread. Now, the first card is going to be about the nature of the deity. This card represents the deity itself, its essence, who, what makes up the deity, um, the quality of, and the nature of the deity, the energy of the deity that we're connecting with. So I'm going to draw the first card. Okay, I've got the Five of Cups. So this is not going to go in an expected way, because I don't think this is the deity that I believe is connecting with me, which is fine. This could be picking up on another deity that may also be interested. Doesn't mean I have to respond by working with that deity. So the nature of the deity, Five of Cups. So what does that mean? How does that relate to a deity? Feel free to offer any suggestions in the chat. I'm going to give you my reaction. So it's, yes, a water deity. Excellent. That's right. That's what I was going to say. Because you've got water. It's cups, it's water. You've got water in the card. It's very much of a water-related deity. It could also have a connection with sadness, or a deity that will help deal with emotional wounds, and help to lift you out and heal, um, bring healing to your emotions, or something like that. So it's something that's a deity that's connected to the water element, that has perhaps the ability for emotional healing. The deity may have been involved in a tragedy. So one that understands emotional pain, that can help you deal with your emotional pain. So that's our first card. That's the nature of deity. As I say, it isn't. This is not going to be the deity that I feel drawn to at the moment. Um, and the figure there is cloaked enough that we can't yet tell if that's male or female, whether it's a god or a goddess. So put that there, we'll put that aside. And yes, Leanne, thank you. Yeah, a deity or a god is a supernatural being who is considered divine or sacred, and it's that energy that we work with. Um, at some point, I'd like to do a video on my understanding of deity and what deity or who deity is and how we work with deity and that kind of thing. But that's for another video. So it could be an androgynous deity, and that's true. That's neither male or female. Is just divine energy, a divine being that can be both or not or neither. So so anyway, let's go to the second card, which is about the demeanor and appearance, how the deity presents itself to the outside world, to others. That's an interesting one, Jewel. Otter and the fish, reminding you of Ceridwen as she transformed. Well, I mean, I don't know that particular story, but yes, that seems that it could be. It could be that could relate to that. So, as I say, this is how you can begin to pick up on the image, on the card itself, and what it's saying to you about the nature of it. So, second card. This is about how the deity presents itself to us. The appearance, its outer qualities, the way it acts, and its behavior. I say it because I would say we don't know whether it's going to be god, goddess, or whatever. So let's choose this second card. Okay. So how it presents itself, its behavior, the way that we see it, a way it shows itself, reveals itself. We have the Eight of Wands. So to me, it's very active and quick. It has Wands is also the fire element. So as well as being water, maybe there's an element of fire there, or power and strength. Or, it's a strong deity, and it can give us momentum to move forward. Perhaps that's the deity. Um, so it could be that kind of deity, very, very strong, very inspirational as well as healing. Um, so its focus will move you forward and not going and youthful. That's a good one, Leanne. Youthfulness, because we have a youth here, and also here we have a bit of youthful male energy. So that's the first clue. Maybe there is a masculine kind of expression here. So that's a very good point, Leanne. So these two cards together are beginning to form a picture of what deity or energy we are talking about here. So let's continue with the spread. And we'll go to the next card, which is about the ancient purview or the sphere of influence of the deity. What sphere of life? Um, what area? Particularly in ancient times, in perhaps in the original mythology, um, was this god or goddess known to be to be responsible for, have an influence over, what was its purview, what was its jurisdiction? Um, so, um, like for instance, I work with Poseidon, so, and he's over the sea. Um, so, you know, what kind you will have a god over hunting and or a goddess of the moon, or Mother Earth, a goddess of the earth like Gaia, for instance. So it's what it was believed to be over originally this is the ancient. You'll see why there's a differentiation in a moment, but it's the ancient purview that this goddess or god has had. Okay, so let's choose that one. Okay, here we go. And we have the Four of Cups. So another Cups card. So, and it looks like another youth, doesn't it? It looks like another youth there, one that's a little bit disillusioned with life, with what he's got. He's not very emotionally involved. He's not seeing this cup up here. He's so disillusioned with his present circumstances that he doesn't see or appreciate, or is not ready to receive the new cup that's there waiting. Maybe he needs to find reconnection with life more so that he can receive this new opportunity. So, and of course, it's another water element. So again, maybe is this. I'm tending towards a god um, that has a connection with the sphere of influence of either over the water, like Poseidon, for instance, or uh, whether or not it's to do with an emotional issue, one that is responsible for our appreciation of life, if there is such a God. Um, um, my knowledge of different gods and goddesses is limited. Um, so, IK, lovely to see you. Comments not connected. Yeah, this technology does weird things. And as I say, I had to restart this live because the other one went a bit wrong, and so we do unfortunately have to deal with these things, but we can deal with them. So that's the ancient purview. So my feeling is it's connected to something to do with relationships, or um, how we connect with life or others. And it could be over the responsibility to do with water element. So that's the third card. Now the next card is if I can find it, is that's it, is the modern purview. Starting to sound like the Norse god Mani to me. Never heard of that one, but interesting. So, but of course, there'll probably be more than one god or goddess that these qualities may apply to. As I said before, it won't necessarily always, unless it's just confirming what we suspect all along. It just gives us some clues to work with to do further research. You know, it's one way when we're wanting to connect with deity and wondering what deity we might be wanting to connect with. It's one way to help us narrow it down. So, this next card, the modern purview, can also be the same or as what the ancient one was. What do we normally, if with people that work with this deity now, not going back into the ancient mythology and the culture at the time of what they believed, what is the card in modern time? What is the card? It's the tarot card, yeah. But what is the deity particularly known for in modern times? As modern pagans, for instance, how do we how what do we know this this particular god or goddess for? Now, it may be similar, maybe have a lot of similarity with what it was known for in in ancient times. That's interesting, Jan. The fact he's a god of the moon. Two children who is attended by two children carrying buckets of water. You're supposed to help depression and anxiety. That's interesting. Well, I'm learning something if no one else is. So yes, it could be the same kind of sphere of influence that was traditionally believed to be come under that particular god or goddess. Sometimes, though, there may be a slight change or adaptation to modern times, where modern pagans that work with a particular deity find they help with certain things. Okay, so if there's not much difference, just take this as another card that will help narrow down, may give you an extra quality and influence. Yeah, we can all do with that, can't we, Mel? We all need help with that from on occasion. So this is further exploring its area of influence. So we may get a little bit more clarification. So here we go. This is the Eight of Pentacles. So this is, to me, because Pentacles, it could be an earthy type element into it. It may help us with the gain mastery over in practical ways of how we can apply things to our life, to be creative, to get down to the work, to help sustain us in our dedication to the tasks that we need to do. It could be a grounding influence. Maybe it's something over, I don't know, some area of work or craftsman type. Yeah, maybe that's a good point, Hexon. Thank you. It could mean that this deity requires quite a bit of dedication to working with this deity. So it's, I mean, so, the ones I've worked with so far, I would say all require some degree of dedication. But maybe this one, you really need to put the work in. You need to put the work in. But this is about its influence. Maybe it will help. Maybe this deity will help you be a dedicated person, dedicated to your path. Um, so maybe it will help you apply yourself, be consistent, be dedicated in your life to whatever path you're following. So it could strengthen your will and resolve in a practical way and how you're supposed to be living your life. So maybe that's the kind of modern influence that this has. One of the benefits um, of working with this deity is the quality this deity will bring to your life. So this is a very interesting deity by the sounds of it. And the final card, okay, the final card is about it's to do with our relationship. I'm just trying to find, there we are. The intended relationship that the deity with between ourselves and the deity. Why oh why do we have the opportunity to connect with this particular deity? What's the intention? What's the benefit? What's the main thing that we're gonna, the purpose of this relationship of working with this deity? So let's see what card we get with that. And then when we've got all the cards, I'll see if we can put it all together and see how you might take the clues and begin to form, a better picture. Okay, so the intended relationship. This is interesting because it's the Chariot card. Interesting in the fact that this is my birth card. Interesting in the sense that there's a woman on the chariot, so maybe it wasn't a god, but it's still, to me, the chariot is all about very much putting a driving seat, keeping us on track, having us dedicated to our path, um, bringing us healing to any emotional hindrances and wounds, helping us to move forward with purpose, with that vibrant energy that the Eight of Wands was bringing in. So this is all about keeping the balance, keeping things together, the different aspects, the light and the dark, the duality, bringing things together and moving towards a particular destination, moving in line with your will and intent. So this is very much moving forward along your path. So this deity is going to give you guidance and help to have that resolve and diligence in moving forward. So we've began to build a picture of the money flies through the night sky in his horse-driven chariot, chased by a wolf. Whenever the wolf gets too close, a lunar eclipse takes place. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. So let's do a quick recap and see what we've got. This is so we then because normally we would have all the cards on the table in front of us and we'd have a look. So okay, so the first one was the Five of Cups. We had the nature of it was to do with sadness or healing from sadness, to do with water. We then had the way it expresses itself is by focused, quick, active energy. And then we had the ancient sphere of influence. We had the Four of Cups, so that talked about, I don't know, depression or something like that, or disillusionment, which may have tied in a little bit with the Five of Cups as well, because that's what the four can lead to the five. And then we had the modern purview was the Eight of Pentacles. So that sense of dedication, of skill, developing skill and dedication, and helping us to helping us to dedicate ourselves to our path, to ourselves, to put in the work that we need. Maybe a deity that requires working with effort, and to be dedicated to connecting with that deity. And then the final card was, of course, the Chariot, which is about sense of purpose, direction, being in the driving seat, pulling things together, moving forward. That's the benefit of the relationship, the intention of the relationship. So Jen has quite helpfully put forward who she thinks this deity may be, and here we come to the next part, because if she's right, and she could be, because Jen is quite often right, not always, but quite often. This reading was from me, my benefit. So I was asking what deity might be connecting to me, or what kind of deity my energy would prefer to connect with, taking into account what I feel I may need, as in what energy I need to connect with. The water signs also signify something like a lunar connect. Yes, which fits in with what Jen was saying about that moon deity, the Norse moon deity. So there is, and I was trying to see if there was a moon in the image. No, but it could be. It could be. So it could have that connection with the moon. Eight of Pentacles Tarot is saying that in order to work through depression, anxiety in life, you not only have to work with this God, but also that is a constant work that you don't give up and have to dedicate yourself to work in order to succeed. Yes, I know, Mel. I did say she wasn't always right. I didn't say that. I said she's quite often right, mostly right, but not always, because I wouldn't want that to go to her head. So but it's interesting. So this. So what if you don't make sense of it? What if this reading doesn't make sense to you? And how do we respond to that? How do we work with that? We've just done this spread. We've just this thing of getting the tower deck out and trying to connect with deity through using the tarot. Well, firstly, I go back to what I said about it's okay to have fun with serious issues. And yes, working with deities is a serious thing, but we can have fun with it. And we can have fun with the tarot, trying to use it as a way of getting some clues as to what deity we may be working with or encountering or having an opportunity. And I stressed it was an opportunity to work with. I said right at the beginning, the end of the day, if it doesn't seem to work for us, and then I would suggest if it doesn't seem to ring any bells, if it doesn't seem to connect, what then I feel that you need to do is make a note of the cards you pulled in that reading, make a note of it, jot it down, and I notice that Jen, like a good student, that's why she had her notebook, has been pulling cards, right, as we went along. And I was going to invite people to do that, but I didn't want to get too involved with everybody saying, oh, well, I've got this card. What does this card mean? And all that kind of thing, because I don't entirely know what the cards that I pulled mean. So, and I'll admit that I don't fully understand the cards that I've got. It's giving me clues I can look up further. So this is what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to make a note of these cards for further attention, and maybe for a while nothing will happen, and then something will come up. Well, I'll read about a certain god or goddess, and it will suddenly then hit home. Oh, that may be what those cards were referring to. And so, as I said, tarot is frustrating as it doesn't always give you a very definite, clear answer, but it can point you in the right direction. And at the end of the day, it's just a tool, and this and a tarot spread is just another tool that we can combine together in order to help us make those connections that we want to make with. So, if it doesn't ring true, or if you're not sure what it means, just make a note, and I'll be very interested to see that video about the cards that you pulled, Jen, as I'm sure we all would. So I'm not going to say this was wrong, even though you might think, well, this doesn't sound like a deity that I have even come across, or even thought was connecting. Like I said, there is a deity that I believe is trying to connect with me, but it doesn't seem to be the one that these cards are indicating. So does that mean that I'm wrong? That other deity that I'm thinking of isn't, and this one is? No, it could be, but I feel that just because this deity is there connecting at this moment in time with my energy, it doesn't mean that the other one isn't. And it doesn't mean that I have to end up working with this deity. This is, again, just an opportunity to see whether that this may be what my energy is attracting at this time. So, and also, we don't have to connect with any deity. This is just an interesting exercise to see what our spiritual connections may be there. what may be wanting to um yeah, you can say also, I mean, this getting into maybe for the remaining time, I'll go into a little bit of my understanding of deity. But I do want to do a separate, more involved video on it. But yes, Mel, that's what I mean. That's why take a note of the result that you got. It may not instantly make sense to you. But you need to write it down. And just as a tip with that, if you're going to make a note, write these results down. What, you're not going to tell a god or goddess to pound sand, Jen? Well, it depends. If they're a desert deity that, that has influence over the deserts, over sand, fiery sort of, maybe you could tell them to pound sand. What was I saying? Yes, if you're going to note down the results so that you can meditate and you can go back to them later, a tip from me, don't make the mistake that I do, is when I write something down, make sure you write it down somewhere that you know you're going to be able to find it. Because slightly related to this, because it's something I nearly did as instead of working with deity. It could, Mel. I believe that it could be because of the energy we're in at the moment, perhaps we've drawn the interest, because I feel that the energy that we're putting out is like a beacon, and certain we're putting that into the universal energy sort of realms, and any energetic beings like deities will see that and be drawn to it. Now, it may be that that deity is being drawn to it and has a message for us to and want to give us a bit of give us a bit of guidance, but don't necessarily want to work with us over time. They've only come to us at that moment to say a specific thing. So that could be a possibility as well. It could be they can come to us for all kinds of reasons. And yes, the 20 notebooks thing is that I have different notebooks where I've written down different things over time. And I thought, well, I'll write it down so I don't forget about it. When I was choosing the subject, I thought, shall I do connecting with spirit guides? Because I have actually done that before. This is the first time I've done a spread to connect with a deity. Well, I have used tarot to get messages from a particular deity, and that's a totally different thing. Say like for instance, I might do a spread to get specific guidance from, say, Poseidon, who I work with. So that's just, the deity and you're seeking particular messages from that deity, and you can use tarot for that as well. Um, but this is the first time I've done this identifying a deity through tarot. So that's why I thought it'd be interesting, because I could do the actual reading for me for the first time. I'm coming to it new. You may have already used a spread like this, or you may not have. I haven't used a spread like this stuff, but I've used similar spread for finding out about what spirit guides we might have. And I identified a couple of spirit guides that reveal themselves through a tarot spread, and got the cards and I wrote down what this I felt this guide was why can't a Libra get along with an Aries? Well, I think we can get along with anybody. Um, I think we can get on with anybody, but I don't know a heck of a lot about astrology. But to me, I know Aries is a fiery sort of. I know an Aries. I have a friend who's an Aries, and I know plenty of Libras, and I can see where an Aries and a Libra might have a little bit of difficulty balancing themselves out sometimes. But as I said, as I was saying, I'd written down in this notebook the results of this readings about spirit guides and everything, and I still must have it somewhere. But I don't know where it is because I was going to get it out and show you an example if I was going to do that subject. So I thought, well, maybe I'm not meant to do that subject. So, but yes, you can use a spread to connect with spirit guides, what messages they want to bring to you, and also what kind of spirit guide it is. I mean, funny enough, I know, just going off topic, I know that one of the guides was through the chariot card. It wasn't in this deck, it was another deck, and there was this figure in the deck, and I felt that that was very representative. That's how that particular spirit guide revealed himself to me. So, and I have a record of that somewhere, but I don't know where that notebook is. It's around, but so if you're going to make a note, my tip would be put it in a book where you can find it, so that you're not thinking, now what notebook did I put that in, and secondly, where is that notebook? So yes, Mel, you narrow it down as much as you want to, or as much as you're able to. um and as I say, the clues may not bring you to the actual specific deity until a bit later on. And when you look back, you're thinking, yes, that's that's who was trying to reach out to me. And also, yes, Jen, it could be at least 10 different deities, probably. But at least it's narrowed it down to about 10. It's not out of the hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of deities that it could have been before we did the spread, right? It may have ruled certain deities out. As I said, I don't believe it's the deity that I'm currently conscious of, and you'll know the one I'm talking about. So I can rule that one out. Okay. Um, so it rules certain ones out, and it can narrow it down a bit, but still leave you with possibilities. Keep that notebook with your cards. Yeah, but you and me need also another notebook that has something else that you need to keep with your cards. And you'll have about 10, 15 notebooks with your cards. And which particular cards you may use a different deck. No, that was the other thing. That was the other thing, Jen. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to say some people might like to use particular god and goddess decks, in that decks that have gods in them, goddesses in them, particular ones. There's nothing wrong with that, as using them. There's particular oracles with that. like the gods and titans and goddesses and sirens, is it, by Stacey DeMarco? Those two particular decks, and they'll have like Poseidon, Ares, Athena, and other deities in them. And you could say, well, why don't you use one of those? And then you'll get the specific thing. But I feel that's too narrow because it doesn't include every god and or goddess, because a deck can't. And you're only limiting it to the ones that are in that particular deck. And the deity that you're connecting with might not be one of those. It may have a similarity, so you may end up picking one that's similar to that deity, but you've narrowed it down too much, too specific. So I agree with that, Jen. I'm not a big fan either. I would rather use a mirror for contacting a deity. But listen, there are many ways to connect with deity. Okay. As I said, I've connected with deity. This is the first time I've done a spread to try and identify a deity. Okay, so you're right. There's different ways. We don't have to use tarot if that's not a. But it's. I'm just saying this is one of the uses tarot can have. Um, the many uses, how versatile tarot can be. This is something that is used by some with tarot to connect with deity, but it's not the only way we connect with deity, because this just gives us as I say, a sort of clues about a deity that we can then perhaps use something like scrying into a mirror or some other form of connection to follow on from that. So we don't have to use it in isolation. They're all tools that we can use together to get that picture and that connection um, as strong as that we possibly can. Got some new comments here. So have fun with. I'll put the actual spread and the details. One, after this is all uploaded, the live's done and everything, I'll put it in the description. And if you want, I can also put it into the group page, the Facebook group page, in Mama's Wishy Wisdom. I could put it there as well. And, then you can, if you want to have a go yourself, if you haven't, like Jen has, been the KISS student that she's been, as Mel said, and being that I'm very interested to see what results you've got. If you haven't been following along, you can do so in your own time, and you don't have to say anything about it because that's a personal thing. Share or not share, that's totally up to you. You have a right to keep it private. I've just used this as an example, but it's interesting that um, that this could be a water theme deity, a nature deity, because that's my natural element to connect with. That's why I connect with Poseidon. So it could be a similar. It could be a similar deity. And the one that Jem mentioned, the Norse one, connection to the moon, because I felt for some time that I needed to include some energy with the moon, lunar energy, into my path, because Poseidon's over the oceans, and the moon affects the tides and everything of the oceans. There's a connection there, and I felt that for some time. So maybe that's a purpose that why this other deity is being drawn, maybe some kind of lunar deity. So I can explore that. But to finish, what I would say is that have fun with it. Um, this is the type of things that we can do, different things we can do with tarot, the different things. Gives you an idea, yes, of all the energies that Deity is seeing from you. Yeah, because that's the other thing. Even if you don't ever identify that particular deity that you perhaps were connecting with, and sometimes they may be just passing by and caught our energy, as I said, and we picked up on that energy. It may be more indicative of the energy that we're projecting rather than what's projecting from them. So that may, at the very least, it may reveal something about where we are at from a spiritual um, perspective. What is being seen, the energy that's being picked up from us by the spiritual beings in the unseen realms. So and I was saying, don't worry if you never end up, it was just an encounter that you had that was interesting. Keep a note of, just in case. But as I say, and it might just be revealing bits about yourself as well. And if it ends up not amounting to anything, then you just spent a moment having fun with a tarot spirit, and that's it. And you didn't lose anything. Um, it's not the end of the world. And sometimes, it happens that way. And I know that, which is a little bit leads into perhaps hopefully that when hopefully next time that Jen will be here doing it, doing Tarot Tuesday. And I know that she had lined up um, how to deal with inaccurate readings or something. And that's a bit similar, isn't it? When if it doesn't ring true, it doesn't make sense to you. I think it relates a bit to that subject, and I hope that when she does Tarot Tuesday next, that she goes onto that subject because it will follow on a bit from this. Um, but but like I said last time, I did the takeover. That have fun with it. And don't be tied down to what you feel that you should be doing. Do what works for you. If this is a kind of thing um, that doesn't work for you, then don't bother with it. You don't have to. Just because if you do a search, there's all kinds of different spreads for different subjects. But it's just another way of using tarot. And as I said, enjoy what you're doing, even with the serious stuff. Have fun with it. Try not to take things too seriously. Have fun, enjoy the experience, and as long as it's not damaging to us, any experience can be a lesson to us and to spur us on. So I think we will leave it there. Uh, Anybody got any questions before we go? Yes, I might be outside your practice, but yeah, there were things that I listened to that are beyond my practice at the moment, but it's always interesting to learn about different things, even if it's perhaps not part of what we're doing at the moment. Far less, far less more jokes. Well, I could have provided some for. I hope you've all had a ball tonight and enjoyed it. I've enjoyed spending time with you as always, and I say, hopefully next time, um, Jen will have all things, all aspects of the universe coming together to to enable her to do Tower Tuesday. But I am always here to step in when needed, um, as I'm sure um, Jen knows. Um, Sometimes she just needs that space to herself. I say she's had a busy day, and sometimes it's good not to have the responsibility on having to deliver something. And it's been nice to have Jen here in the chat and to been able to chat with others, which I think is something that she ought to do from time to time. You know, when let somebody else take over and join the chat, and chat with different people that she doesn't necessarily get to when she's trying to deliver teaching in a video. So goodbye everyone. Bye everyone, and we'll look forward to the next Tarot Tuesday. So thank you for joining. As I have some fun with it and see what happens. Okay, bye bye.